Welcome to ZekeTalk for the middle of January. Is this the beginning of January or the middle of January?
I'd say it's still near the beginning, although we're just sort of, I don't know. It's beginning middle.
My birthday's at the end of the month. I will say it's still the beginning.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, with us here is, of course, our ZekeTalk co-host, Mike Anderson.
It's me again. You know me.
Yeah, it's Mike.
You know me, you love me.
And I'm Jim Tudor. And then Madeline Brophy's here. Madeline Brophy. Maddie Brophy. Maddie.
Yeah,
you know her and love her too.
If you call me whatever you'd like.
and we're here. What do you want me to call you? Maddie? You're Maddie on Facebook.
Yeah, work on Madeline. Some people say, "Hey, you." Fine. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, lady.
Yeah.
No, it's awards talk, and you're a big fan of awards, aren't you?
Yeah. I've watched them for a long time. I just think it's a nice time to get together and hang out with people, and good and bad food. Not great for you, but as everyone knows, I'm like a huge Meryl Streep fan. So she goes to the awards, right? Like almost every time. So it's kind of a guarantee of I get to. She's not like she's obviously a huge public figure, but she's not in that. So when there's award shows, I know she'll be there. So yeah.
That's when you can count on. Yeah, that's when you can count on Meryl Streep to come out of her shell.
No, yes.
Because she has to go to these award shows. Although a few years
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she can do what she wants, but
yeah.
Of course. And with, and well-earned clout. But wasn't she saying back when Iron Lady was winning everything for her that was it? She didn't care anymore. She understood.
Jim, I don't think she's cared for a while. Like, I think she's won 3 Oscars now, at least. I think, and she's won. I mean, she's been nominated for a Golden Globe. I think it might just be 20 times now, which I believe is a record. So I think she has her nose in the air, but maybe I just want to keep admiring her. But I think it's more just to see people now, and I think she really enjoys the craft of her work, which I really admire. But I won't talk about Meryl Streep the whole podcast. I promise.
Yeah, was she even in the running here for the Post or
for the Post? Actually, from what I've read, they think that will get more of a nod. Not necessarily her, but that movie for the Oscars. But yeah, for the Golden Globes, it didn't win anything. So not to jump ahead.
No, the Post didn't win anything, but she was nominated for the Post. That's what I was asking.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yes. She was in there. I'm looking at the list here. Meryl Streep lost out to Frances McDormand.
Yeah, I love her in that Wes Anderson movie. Is that have you guys seen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My favorite of.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Ebbing, Missouri. I really liked it. I don't know what you guys thought, but I definitely thought she was deserving of that award.
Yeah.
Ebbing, Missouri is, a nice place. I wouldn't want to live there. No, it doesn't exist.
I've never been.
Looks a lot like North Dakota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. It's not a great movie, I don't think. And I think it's in danger of overpraise since it did win Best Picture, which I, for one, did not see coming. That was a shock. That it won Best.
What did you guys think would win?
Well, I didn't really have a horse in that race. The big award at the end, Best Motion Picture.
Call Me by Your Name,
because they split it. Yeah, Dunkirk and The Shape of Water. Those are our selections there, and Dunkirk is great, massive accomplishment, and I think a very good movie, but it just doesn't seem to have that heat, that a film needs to carry it through award season. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, the awards were kind of split this year. and the Golden Globes, and we'll see if they remain to be split when the Oscars come around.
What do you mean by split, Mike?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of really good movies there, but none of them was really like a big front runner.
Oh, I see. Like
you know what I mean?
Titanic, the year that won like 11 awards or whatever. There was nothing that just ate everything.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, you read off the list of that, and it's like, oh, that's a good movie. That's a good movie, too. That's a good movie. It's, a lot of it comes down to personal preferences here. And there wasn't like one that was, so clearly head and shoulders, or even, like two going head to head.
Exactly. And that makes it fun, I think.
Yeah. This wasn't Forrest Gump going up against Pulp Fiction or something like that.
Right. No, it wasn't that year. There's a lot of great movies this year, though. So many.
Yeah, two of my favorites. I think Lady won musical.
I'm sorry.
And I know that won Best Director. So
yes,
those were great. Lady Bird and Shape of Water. So I was happy to see those wins. But I haven't seen all the movies yet. Those are two that I've seen, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah, Greatest Showman got in there, and I, Tonya, which those are the two I haven't seen.
No, me either.
They haven't even screened I, Tonya for critics in this city, which is bizarre. No screener, no nothing. We could not even consider that for year-end awards as a St. Louis Film Critics Organization.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
I know. I, Tonya, it's supposed to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And, just not even, we couldn't even see it. So what do you do,
Sounds like they whacked you in the kneecap.
Yeah, that and Star Wars. Those are the ones they just like, we're not showing you those.
Oh.
And Jumanji, but, that's for a different reason.
Did you guys get to see Call Me By Your Name?
Yeah. Yes.
The list. Okay.
That was covered. I've seen Call Me By Your Name. I've seen all of them in the drama. My pick over there would probably be either Dunkirk or The Shape of Water. That said, all five of those are fine movies. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have expected Call Me By Your Name or Three Billboards to win. I probably would have guessed The Post. And my reason for guessing The Post is because this is an award that is given out by a small, some people say mysterious cadre of journalists known as the Hollywood Foreign Press. I mean, there really are like under 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they meet up and they have all these social gatherings. Press agents try to woo them, and send these celebrities that are nominated, into their midst, and wine and dine them and everything else. And that's where we end up here. As an awards show, the Golden Globes I don't think it holds much water, but for whatever reason, it's ascended to be the second most popular award show. And it has clout in the sense that winning a Golden Globe award means something. I don't know why, for the reasons I just explained, but it means something.
Yeah, I've heard it's the most fun party. So
that's what
I've heard.
That's what they've been promoting it as, the big party of the year.
Yeah.
Which one writer said what they mean by that is the Oscars, but drunk.
Yes.
So that's what they mean by that. But this being a small group of journalists, I figured The Post, being a newspaper movie, would, and not just a newspaper movie, but of course a very timely, in theme newspaper movie, would just sail on in there to victory a little more easily. But they didn't go that route.
No. They zag when they zag when they zig.
Maybe March 4th, right? I think that's when Academy Awards are.
Maybe just a few too many drinks when they were doing the voting.
Oh, that could be it.
Yeah, we don't know. It's hard to say what goes through the mind. Who can know the mind of the Hollywood Foreign Press? I don't.
Certainly not me.
No one knows. So that's what I would have guessed. I probably would have guessed they'd pick The Post.
Yes.
Well,
that's something that you bring up. I mean, we have the idea of the Academy voter.
Yeah.
Just,
which is
tired
what?
people who. It's the older, members of the Academy who are really into it, so they tend to be more stolid and conservative in their picks, and so that's the I guess the idea that a lot of people have.
Well, those are the people, the Academy members, those retirees.
Yes,
they're the ones who have time to watch all those screeners and go see the movies.
Yeah.
Everybody else, working in the business, one thing about making movies, when you're making movies, you don't have time to see movies.
Yes.
Which, if you're a film buff like me, it stinks. It's really hard to see movies when you're working on one. And so most of these people don't get to. They you hear stories of they get the screeners in the mail, or they just take the Oscar ballot and hand it to their assistant and say, fill this out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about Phantom Thread? Because from what I've been hearing, because The Post and Phantom Thread came out later, like obviously they were in like LA and New York, but I haven't seen them yet. And I just saw Molly's Game. So not that I think that will necessarily win at the Oscars, but I wonder if The Post and it's like some of these other movies that came out a little later will maybe get some more headstrong speed.
Well, I've seen them both.
Okay.
Because of the film critics voting. I saw them both a while ago. And Phantom Thread, I get to finish writing about after this. So we can get that review on our site since it opens tomorrow. And The Post, is that open yet? That came out, right?
The 12th.
That's tomorrow. Okay, that's tomorrow here. It's been out in other cities a little longer, though. But we've had our Zeke film review of that up for a while, too, I guess. But anyway, what were you asking? How are they? I mean, The Post is good.
Sure.
It's
I was thinking both of them might be honored a little bit more for the Academy Awards because it's later in the season than the Golden Globes.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Phantom Thread was held back so far that one thing at Zeke Film, I'll just tell you this, a little inside baseball here.
Mm-hmm.
The contributing film critics at our site have been wanting to put the brakes on the deadline for when top 10 lists post because no one had any way of seeing Phantom Thread until it came out. I tried to get Paul Hibbard to the screening, which was last night, and I got no reply on that from the ad agency. I mean, I couldn't even get somebody to go see it who wanted to write about it, who's the world's biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan. I don't know why. They've got nothing to hide, nothing to be ashamed of. Phantom Thread is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's an immaculate movie. It's not going to be a crowd pleaser across the board. A favorite of everybody. And it probably really, honest to goodness, is not what you'd call pure Oscar fodder. It's just aloof and cold and, more, it's probably the most accessible movie Paul Thomas Anderson's made, at least since There Will Be Blood. Mm-hmm. It's the most accessible, but that's, not saying a whole lot because, none of these movies have been very accessible to mainstream audiences. They're great. They're great movies, but they're their own things. And this one is definitely its own thing. It's not like The Master where it's way off in its own universe. but it's great. It is the story. It's Daniel Day-Lewis. He's a dress designer, and he's highly successful. He's living in this castle. He has his rigid routine that he goes through. Everybody is like just falling over themselves to, make sure that he's happy and not to rock the boat. He demands a calm atmosphere. He demands his breakfast a certain way every day at a certain time in a certain place. And as long as everything's going to clockwork, this man can make the world's finest dresses. But if something throws him off, he's really thrown off. And it's this movie about just this perfectionism, and somebody who is not an easy person. I don't know if people really like to line up at the box office for that necessarily.
Right. Yeah, when my boyfriend and I saw it in the theater, like in the trailer, he's really into story. That's like really why he wants to watch. And sometimes I love story, obviously the biggest, but sometimes I'll see something just because it's fun, even if it's not the best story. And he turned to me before the movie we were about to see started and was like, "Do you have any idea what that's about?" And I was like, "So thank you for describing it. I mean, I want to see it because it's nominated. I just sort of make myself see some of those films, but that's sort of what I was thinking it was about."
Yeah, what you've described is like the perfect setup for a wacky comedy. The tightly wound, plus budget, who one little thing goes wrong and then it just spirals and spirals. Yeah. And by the end of it, the whole house is just tatters and smashed up.
Yeah, and what does he have to show for it?
Well, I don't know.
The world's greatest dresses. But no, it's definitely something to see, and it's worth seeing in the theater. And it's Daniel Day-Lewis saying that this is his last movie. Phantom Thread, he's done.
I can't believe that.
Me either.
Yeah,
I don't buy it.
Yeah, I want to take him at his word, but I don't know. We'll
He's an actor. Actors don't retire. Except for Sean Connery. They don't retire. And Gene Hackman. But they don't.
Yeah.
So I don't, good grief. Somebody will get him back. I don't know how long it'll take. But he's said this before, I think. I don't remember exactly when, but it does seem like, haven't we been down this road with this man before?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think he said this.
Well, I know Liam Neeson said that, oddly enough, with The Phantom Menace.
No, it was The Haunting.
Was it?
Yeah, that was... Okay. I think that was the terrible experience that drove him to leave acting. The being in the Jean de Bont, The Haunting.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was around the time of Phantom Menace too, though.
Yes.
But two big special effects green screen movies in a row. It's just like no.
He has a new movie coming out this weekend too, right?
Yeah, The Commuter.
Yes, The Commuter.
Which it's
like Taken 4.
That's what we That's what we call a January movie.
Although, actually, have you seen it yet?
No. Jeff Knight went for Zeke Film, so I couldn't go that night. Okay. I've got a standing appointment on Tuesday, so I can never go to screenings on Tuesday. Jeff can only go to screenings on Tuesday, so he's been doing the Tuesday shifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because actually the reviews have been fairly positive in a sort of as far as January movies go, this is about as good as you're going to get.
Well, January movies are supposed to be notoriously awful. That's why I make the quip. But Mike, you are onto something there, because in the last several years there have been quite a few not bad January movies. We've got another one, Paddington 2. I already posted the review of that. Paddington
Sally
2.
Hawkins.
Yeah. And in Paddington 2's defense, which it does not need any, it's a fine movie as well. It's a sequel, to Paddington, which was released 2 years ago in January also. But in England, where it's a much bigger deal, it came out like in November. So
Oh,
Not really a January movie through and through. It just made its way here in January.
Okay.
Paddington 2. But and The Commuter, we'll have our review of that one. That Liam Neeson as the commuter / Taken 4 tomorrow.
and just so I'm clear, is Paddington good?
Paddington 2 is...
I have not seen either of them, so...
No, Paddington is actually evil in this one.
Okay.
It all goes bad.
That would be a turn.
Paddington with rabies. No, he's good.
He looks lovable.
Yes, he's a very lovable bear. And it's the first Paddington is a great movie. I completely did not expect it to be the case. I thought that looked like a horrible, obnoxious movie in the trailer that they put together. The Weinstein Company picked that one up for, domestic distribution 2 years ago. And then, of course, with Paddington 2, the producer said, well, we got to find a different distributor, guys. Sorry.
Smart move.
So, they went to, I can't remember if it's Focus Features, I think, has it. So they put out Paddington 2. Same cast as Paddington 1. Everybody's back. The same director. Just as much care and love has gone into this, except from a screenplay story plot point of view. I mean, the structure of it is fine. All the little setups and payoffs work out. It's Paddington goes to prison, by the way. That's what happens.
Okay, I have seen the trailer.
Yeah, I'm not making that up. I didn't even know. I was like sitting there watching the movie, and all of a sudden he's in jail. He's in prison. I was like, "Are you?"
I do kind of like Mike's idea though of an evil turn.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe I will see this.
Yeah, they catch him and he goes to prison. And no, he's in prison, and has to teach the prisoners to be nice. And Brendan Gleeson is the worst of them all, and he teaches him to be nice, and he does it by serving marmalade sandwiches.
Well, of course.
So,
I'd fall in love. Yeah.
That's delightful.
Yeah, no, they're very well made movies, both Paddingtons.
Yeah.
It's just this one kind of feels like an episode. Like if this were a weekly television series, this would just be an episode,
like a filler. Yeah.
Maybe it would be an episode. Maybe it would be a very special episode by the way things go at the end. But for the most part, it's like this is just an episode of Paddington. Paddington Bear. It's not a.
Sometimes I think that may not be such a bad thing, because with so many of these sequels, it's like you have to raise the stakes, and it's like Die Hard 5. How many times can this keep happening to me?
Yeah. Well, Paddington's in jail. He's in prison, and he's worried that his family, his surrogate family of Sally Hawkins and Hugh Bonneville and the kids, they've forgotten him. He's worried that they've forgotten him. Of course, they haven't. And this being a movie that's, especially for children, they don't let that fear fester too long. In kids' movies, when these bad bombshells happen, these heartbreaking things that turn out to be red herrings, they don't let the red herring go for too long. It's about 5 minutes where we were thinking, have his family forgotten him? It's not even that, I don't think. They're running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to figure a way to get him out of prison because he's been he's been falsely accused.
Well, maybe I will see that after I see the post.
Yes,
this weekend.
Yeah, it's totally worth seeing.
Yeah, triple feature with The Commuter.
The Commuter. Right?
Oh yeah, Taken 4. Yeah,
and that sure, and then the Phantom Thread to top it all. I can't. It's just so weird to think of going to see the Phantom Thread with all that other stuff. It's like Paul Thomas Anderson movies are on their own different plane of existence, and Phantom Thread didn't make my own top 10, but it was probably number 11. I'll just say.
Okay.
Okay.
Because my problem with Paul Thomas Anderson movies is that they're so much on their own plane, they almost don't feel like they belong next to these other movies. I had the same problem with Inherent Vice a few years ago. I watched that and I was just like, you know, what was that? You know, this is that's not even a movie. What, I don't even know. You know, it was so strange of a movie. So no, I couldn't even figure out what to do with it on my year end, so I just ignored it. And
hoped it went away.
Yeah.
Much like, did you also ignore Shape of Water? Not to bring that movie up again, but I watched the episode of your top 10. You ignored Shape of Water too, right?
I didn't. No.
You didn't?
Mike and I, on our thing, I only did 5 on there. So Shape of Water's in my number 8, I think.
Okay. That was my number 1 of the year. So I just wanted to
okay.
Call you on it. Okay.
Yeah, if you have a full list, by the way, send it to me. And even if it's not full 10, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to aggregate all the lists that I get, the movie lists, and you know, and we released the full Zeke film.
Sure. Perfect. Yeah, I saw Mike's too. I saw Mike's TV. I have a TV top 10 list that I'm about to post as well.
Cool. Yeah, no, I've seen that. I've gone.
So definitely, I'll send you my movie.
I've seen that you've been working on that.
Great.
I'm like, when's this going to drop? This has been
awesome.
in
here. we need another TV person in there.
I had some Canva problems, but I talked to Taylor and figured it out.
I could have helped you. Not that I'm a big expert, but used it. You know, there's that option as well. Let's talk about TV. Back to the
let's do it.
The Golden Globes. The big TV show of the night was HBO's Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
Mike, I know you have singled that out on your year-end picks.
Yeah, it didn't make the top 5 for me, but it was definitely top 10. So that was
Madeline,
it was just an excellently made miniseries, you know, on HBO. I suppose they're making another season, so it's a series, but you know, it was really captivating, beautifully shot, great performances. David Kelly, again, showing why he's one of the most sought after TV writers. After his Wonder Woman debacle a couple of years back, but we don't mention that.
Wow, that was you got all digitized on us there.
No, I'm sorry about that. I'll try not to do that again.
Yeah. After his Wonder Woman debacle, you said yeah. I mean, that's at least how it sounded to me. I don't know if everybody else got that.
Yes.
I'm going through the Golden Globe Awards.
Well, I was going to say Big Little Lies. So I don't want to spoil because I am going to post it this weekend. I also didn't really want to post it before this talk, but my theme is more on new TV shows. So from 2017. So Big Little Lies obviously launched in the spring, so that counts. And like Mike said, it was a mini series, and then Spoon and Nicole Kidman talked, and there's going to be a new director, but they're doing another season. Really loved it. I mean, it's hard to really nail down what was so great about it because it's not an action show. Like I love Legion, and Legion totally freaked my mind out. And Big Little Lies is just a story about friendship, like as silly as that sounds, and sort of what happens when you need your friends, and it's motherhood too, but to see mothers be more than just moms. And there's good guys in the show, and there's not so good guys, just like there's not so good women. So I tried to read the book, and it's a very different experience. The book is a lot slower. Believe it or not, Mike, I don't know if you've looked at or read the book.
I have not read the book. My wife has. She says that it's good.
Okay. She liked it. Okay, yeah, I tried. Maybe I'll try again. But I'm really excited to see what they do next season, because obviously, the book is season 1. So
yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Mike. It did make my top 7 or 8, but I'm a fan. And I think Nicole Kidman deserved. With Reese Witherspoon was really great, but Nicole Kidman deserved it, and she won the Emmy, I want to say, this year. So not
Yeah.
super surprising
Yeah.
that they sort of swept again.
And
Well,
Nicole,
the thing is, I did want to bring up, since we're talking top TV shows and everything, and new versus returning. Sometimes with these shorter seasons that drop in the beginning of the year, it's hard to remember that, some things came out. It's like, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt had a season this year that I completely forgot about when I was compiling my top 10. So it's a good show.
Remember The Good Place.
yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yes.
Well, that was the winner
It was the winner, yes.
for Mike.
Yes.
Not for the Golden Globes.
No.
No.
Let's see if that's even
No,
on the list.
unfortunately.
No.
No, they gave it to Master of None.
No, they gave it to Miss Maisel. Marvelous.
Oh wait, no, that's right. No, yeah, Marvelous Miss Maisel, which did make my top 10, not my top 5, but yes, yeah, take that back. I forgot. Aziz won Best Actor for
right.
Master of None. But yes, Marvelous Miss Maisel, which is a worthy show. So,
Mike, did you finish it?
1 episode left. So.
Oh, the last one is great. I thought there was a little bit. Jim, I don't know if have you seen it?
No, I haven't. My wife and I were watching the Globes, and they announced the category, and we sit there and just on the fly just said who's going to win, and I said Master of None's going to win this, and she said no, Blackish is going to win this, and I think I picked Master of None because I listen to these entertainment shows and stuff and hear people talking about it the most. She picked Blackish because she's in racial activist circles on sometimes and they talk about it. So it's like those are the shows that we've heard about. And then they announced Marvelous Miss Maisel. It's like, wait, what's that? And I only knew that was a thing from Mike's list.
Yeah.
That was the only time I'd heard of it. So go ahead.
It's the story of a female stand-up comic in late 1950s New York City, Greenwich Village, trying to break in and running into a lot of trouble. It's very much like a Neil Simon play in many ways because it's a lot of Jewish people yelling at each other. So it's one of those that you have to be in a certain frame of mind.
Is Tony Shalhoub your favorite TV dad?
He's up there, definitely. Yeah, Tony Shalhoub. There's no ethnicity he can't play.
I was gonna say she I think it slipped under the radar because I don't even remember when this was. I think it was this year. They launched the pilot.
Yeah.
And it was like an Amazon pilot season. And obviously everyone loved it. And I think they immediately signed Amy Sherman-Palladino 2 seasons, which I had read was unheard of. They usually offer you a season at a time, and as you get more well known, then they might offer more than one. But I really, really love it. I mean, you guys might know I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan.
Same here.
She doesn't. You are cool. Yeah, she did Bunheads. Did you ever watch?
I never got to see Bunheads. That's on my list of
You're not
things to
missing
get to. Okay.
Yeah, you can really tell she really honed her craft. And even if you don't like Gilmore Girls, I hope people don't, because they're like, I don't like that show. It's really nice to see someone who's been, meant to do this career. You can tell from the beginning she's really funny. Her husband wants to be into this career, and he's funny, but he's not funny. Like, it's not someone you really want to watch. She doesn't have it, and she just naturally has this rhythm. And so to watch her sort of conquer that and become her own person, along with Susie, the stage manager, I'm forgetting, but sort of her comrade, the person who helps cheer her on, is a really nice journey. I really enjoyed it. It does lag a little bit in the middle, Mike. I don't know if you
it does
felt
a little,
the same.
but yeah.
Yeah, but it was great. I also love SMILF.
Yeah, what is that? That's
okay.
I get what it. Yeah, but who's in this? Is it
Sure? Well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's my best show of the year. Okay. It's on Showtime. which not everyone has.
I guess with a title like that, it probably needs to be on Showtime.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, Shameless. So if you know of Shameless, a lot of people have Showtime for that show. But it's about a young woman who has a child, and she's raising it alone. And she doesn't have a lot of money, had big dreams, and then had this kid, and so she can't really follow those dreams. So she's basically trying to put food on the table, keep her apartment paid. It sounds kind of like a plot before, but they really dive deep into what it's like to be in poverty, like, and in the funniest way. Like, it's very, very funny. And I just think there's a lot of arcs, like you watch the characters go through. It is a little raunchy. You know, if you can't, like, if you've ever seen Shameless, that's about a family in the South Side of Chicago that's really struggling. You see a lot of things. So it's definitely MA, but yeah, it's really well written. Frankie Shaw stars, writes, directs it. And she's a rock star. And there's even a really funny scene of she wanted to be in the WNBA. So you watch her go try out for that and silly things like that. But nice. And even if it sounds a little hopeless, there's hope in the show for her.
That is MILF.
No, I remember reading the AV Club.
Wait.
Because yes, if you'd have said, you know, Showtime has this great new show called SMILF, the idea in my head of what that show is about is
Did you hear what he said, man?
No, could you repeat that?
It went away. The idea in your head was?
Completely different.
Oh,
from
okay.
what you just described.
Yeah, no.
All right.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
it's a nice
had a dropout.
Surprise.
Yeah, nice surprise. I haven't heard of it. Let's go over.
Now you have.
I have, yeah, now I have.
The Handmaid's Tale, right? That won Best Drama. Should we do?
Correct. Yeah, let's jump over to drama. Handmaid's Tale.
No one is surprised, right?
It was Handmaid's Tale, The Crown, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, and This Is Us.
Yes.
All strong contenders, by my understanding. It's Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Mike, have you seen this yet or no? Oh, he may be gone.
Is he gone? I don't know. Hang on. Let me go back over to our. I'm looking at the list right now. No, Mike's there. I see him sitting there. Can you hear us? Wait, he's frozen. He's not there. Maddie, why don't you tell us what you think of Handmaid's Tale?
Sure. Well, Mike and I talked a few months ago, so I wasn't sure if he caught up and watched it. It's really good. Sometimes with what's going on in the world right now, you might not want to watch it. You know, it's not a happy story. She does overcome. It's very frustrating with what's going on in the show. You know, I liked the other category. I do watch This Is Us. I'm obsessed with. I didn't think Stranger Things would win. Sort of like what we talked about earlier with sequels. Season 2 is good.
Yeah.
You know, the story, I can tell they didn't have as much time to really put it together. But The Handmaid's Tale, I mean, Elizabeth Moss, the performances are just so good that you know it's going to win. And it won the Emmys. So this wasn't a surprise.
Is Game of Thrones getting a little long in the tooth, or is that still good, or do you not bother with that?
Here's the thing with Game of Thrones. No, I do still watch it. And I know it's coming back, right? 2019, they just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Me? No. I can't. I don't even have any kind of paid. I don't have cable. I don't have satellite. I don't have that. All I have is a Netflix subscription and whatever comes over the broadcast.
No, that's Game of Thrones is good if you ever really need a bingeable series. This season, so they've gone off of the books because I believe at the end of season 6, that was where the books have stopped. When they talked with, here's how I want to end it. So they have some idea, but knowing where they wanted to go, like the season finale, and people might not like this opinion, that's okay. It just felt very forced. Like they knew where they wanted to go, so they did all this plot, which didn't make a ton of sense. Like the characters were sort of purposefully making bad decisions.
Yeah.
So that this thing at the, I don't want to spoil anything. So this season I did not love as much. The acting's still great. The production value is great. I mean, it's a beautiful show. The last season was just so good. And I think it won last, or whenever it was in contender for that season. But this has been a little lackluster. Didn't expect to see that win.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's, I don't know. Yeah, it's, I watched the first season of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Years ago, the DVDs. My wife read the first 4 books, I guess, which are like, yeah, big old books. So she read the books, curious to watch the show. We watched the show. It's kind of weird. I came away going, I was
not for you.
Nah, not really. I didn't hate it. I just had no compulsion to see more. It was like that just felt like a lot of that sort of thing for me. And at that
part of
point,
Game of Thrones is talking about it with other people. I would argue. And so if you're sort of behind, because I remember watching it while it was live. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like the earlier seasons, I've always liked it. It does get better. So if you are interested, I mean, season 2 and 3, from what I remember, I get them kind of mixed up, is very good. But it's talking about it with friends, after it's been live on TV. That's the fun part for me anyway. So I don't know if that.
Here's a side thought. If Game of Thrones were, hey, Mike is back. Mike, hello.
Back. Yeah, sorry about that. My router decided to just suddenly reset itself.
Oh, that router.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you gave it a good what for.
I did.
All right. Now we're talking about Game of Thrones, and I was just going to ask this question: if Game of Thrones were a Netflix series where they dropped the entire thing, 13 episodes all at once, what would that do then? Considering that, Maddie just said the appeal of Game of Thrones, it works better when you can talk about it with friends, and I would assume that in order for that to really be effective, you need to have that 1 week in between or whatever it is, time to talk about what might be happening next.
Yeah, I think that's, one of the things that's missing with sort of the Netflix experience. Yeah, it's like my wife and I weren't able to watch Stranger Things 2, season 2, when it first came out. And obviously, if we were just coming out one episode at a time, we would have made time. But when it's the entire season, it's like, so of course we had to go to Facebook, and everyone's like, "Oh, Stranger Things 2."
Yes, yeah, it's so over now. Yeah, and I've been able to watch it because I've been doing, Film Critics Awards season started in early November, and before that I had stuff going. It just wasn't happening. So, I got to go catch up with that, but it does feel like this thing that is hanging over me, as far as pop culture goes. It's like, oh, yeah, I couldn't, I got to go watch 13 episodes of something.
Yeah. I mean, I just cannot imagine, something like, to give a mild spoiler for a couple seasons back, say The Red Wedding. If that were to happen, and that happens in the middle of the season, having that be the only episode that week, all of a sudden it's like, that's right. The only thing anyone could talk about. But, if the entire thing had dropped, in one day, it'd be like, there'd be some people who got it the first day or the second day, and it's like,
it'd be all over the internet by like noon the next day.
No, definitely.
It would be like the weird. Okay, Stranger Things 2 came out, and I swear, like, not even enough time had passed for all 13 episodes to have been digested by, and it was already, people were putting up reviews of the whole thing. It's like, where'd you have time to even write the review, much less watch all 13 of them? I mean, it was like, this hasn't even been available long enough.
I know.
Well, and I'm going to be honest, like I watched it, my boyfriend and I watched it immediately that night when we got home from work. I think it was Halloween that it came out. And part of it was not that, I mean, I was excited, but my fear was it's going to get spoiled. You know, I won't be able to go on the internet for this. And
Yes.
as far as like Netflix, the bingeable series, I think it works strategically. So like shows like Master of None, if either of you have seen that, I love it. Would I watch it every week if I had to wait a week? It's a little bit slower of a series. It's more character driven. I don't know. You know, it's slower. It's kind of nice to watch and not get it over with, but sort of be like, okay, that was one full, you know, we really saw the main character Aziz grow and blah, blah, blah. But with these action shows or things that like Mike had meant, you know, you want to talk to people about the Red Wedding, like, I just don't know if that would sit well. And with Stranger Things, they sort of have this disadvantage because it could really work well on a week-to-week basis. There's so much that happens. This recent season wasn't as strong. There'd be much more people talking about Stranger Things again if it was spread out over that time. And so because it dropped and then there was all these other shows, I mean, you were reviewing movies, but there's all these other TV shows too that are dropping that you're trying to watch. So it's just like one thing after the other. So it definitely can hurt some viewer experience, I think.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump back into the Globes here. Anything else in terms of these awards that caught you guys' eye? Maybe attention, you know, as far as what won or didn't win. Anything here at all that we need to give some, you know, hash out? I'm looking at Gary Oldman won. That I think was kind of predictable on the circuit. It seems like it's kind of his year is kind of in the air. You know, Gary Oldman. Good for him. James Franco here has won for musical or comedy for The Disaster Artist, a film he also directed. And I guess this is only interesting at this point because now James Franco's in Hot Water.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which brings us to the theme of the show, which we can talk about this as well. The big Time's Up hashtag Me Too movement for the you know, sexual harassment. That really was the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So so I guess first question, any other observations on the awards themselves? And then how'd you guys feel about this show, the big party of the year, the Oscars, but drunk, has gone in this very activism centric direction?
Well, I think, you know, that would have happened no matter what the award show was. It just so happened that you know, the Golden Globes was the first to happen since you know, there's been this sort of you know, a spotlight on problem that Hollywood has had for an extremely long time. I will say, if I had something to go over the awards, I'd say Greta Gerwig was robbed.
Okay. Lady Bird
won for the best comedy, wasn't even nominated for best director.
But Natalie Portman had something to say about it.
Yes,
didn't she?
did.
Yeah, she did. And I'm not that's there's something uncool about that though, isn't there? I mean, Guillermo del Toro, you know.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, who doesn't love him? It's his big moment, and the poor guy had to follow Oprah. This speech of,
I know, seriously, cut to commercial break.
Yeah,
like
the speech of the century there, you know, and then you know they have to come out and give out the next award. Ron Howard is like, okay, back to this, you know. He has to give out the award with Natalie Portman, and you know Natalie Portman's giving out barbs. You know, for poor old Guillermo del Toro.
Here's where I'll push back and maybe give another perspective.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I like that whole moment, right? Like when that happened, like I was really excited after, but I was really uncomfortable. the moment she said that. I was like, oh. And and you saw Ron Howard kind of like, and the crowd, and I think, as much as this is a movement, it certainly doesn't mean that anything has been fixed yet, and there's a long way to go. And evening watching the Time's Up, everyone in black, everyone being very aware of their pins. I noticed, for example, like when women would speak, acceptance, I didn't see any woman get cut off. And that was really interesting, which of course they give Nicole Kidman as much time as she wants anyway, if you watch the Emmys last year. But at the same time, it is a really serious thing. And it's not just happening in Hollywood. And I guess I would argue you should feel uncomfortable. The entire night, even though this was going on, I didn't feel uncomfortable. Oh, everyone's in black, everyone's together. And like Mike said, Lady Bird Greta Gerwig should have been nominated. And we could make the argument if she was a man, she would have. I don't want to make that argument. She should have been nominated, and her film won, and the lead actress won, and I think Laurie Metcalf, that's my one who got robbed. As much as I love Allison Janney, but I do think there's a moment of we sort of need to be uncomfortable. This is not a happy thing. This is something where we have a lot of work to do, and even some of the men wearing those Time's Up buttons, not just James Franco, but accepted their awards. I didn't hear anyone say anything about the movement. And I've heard arguments of, well, it's not men's time to talk. We're trying to give it to women. And okay, I agree with that. But you could at least, like, especially for Big Little Lies, Alexander Skarsgård, he plays opposite Nicole Kidman, and she is a woman who's being abused. And it's like, that's such an easy way to just be like, he acknowledged her, but then turn to the crowd and say, and I also stand with all of you. Like, there's just little things that we can all be more knowledgeable about. And it's not about pointing who's doing what wrong, but it's about how can we be better. So that uncomfortableness, I think, is good on some, even if it's not respectful, it's not about that. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd also throw in that Natalie Portman and Greta Gerwig have been in several films together.
Yes.
So I would say it stands to reason.
There's some bias.
Yeah, they're probably friends, and Portman, specifically looks at it and says, "My friend is being denied here of this honor that should be hers and isn't." That's understandable, but I think the timing was a little off because, like you say, Del Toro even said himself, "I've been doing this for 25 years. It's not just another white dude winning an award. I mean, he's Mexican, right? I mean, it's so, we can, put that over there. And everybody loves him. And like I say, when the Hollywood foreign press has to work the room and meet these people, big, warm, lovable Guillermo del Toro probably made a very good impression. As far as the politics of the, I'm not even comfortable calling it politics of the thing, because this is, I don't see this as a political, issue. This is this is just an issue.
There should be no debate on this issue.
No, right? No,
there's one good side.
Yeah, treating people right. That's why. Hey, I could say, hey, Zeke Films like 40% female as far as film review sites go, unless they're like specifically woman in film review sites. I'm pretty thrilled of our ratio there. That's cool, right? But anyway, we're.
I do think Barbara Streisand, though, right, when she presented, I think she was best film. I think she did say, "Hey, reminder, I was the last woman to win a director." So it's just something to be mindful of.
No, it's great. The thing about Lady Bird, it's easy to read as a a charming, strong comedy, but not something that would necessarily be like, let's give this a whole bunch of awards. I don't know that it strikes people as that kind of movie. It's and I'd say that it is because what Greta Gerwig does in directing that movie is it's such a sure hand and so subtle. She's navigating a lot of different tones and keeping the movie moving and engaging and entertaining and even fun to stay with, even though it gets very uncomfortable. It's resonant, even if you're not a person who's ever been a teenage girl or her mom. It's resonant. And that's something, you know. But that said, it is still a teen movie. It doesn't have a lot of fancy cinematography or whatever. It's just this pretty humble movie when you put it there next to something like, you know, Shape of Water or Dunkirk or whatever. It's very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have only good things to say about Shape of Water. I mean, I cried 3 times in the theater. I'm not kidding. I was just like blown away. But I have to ask my film professor, because he always says, you know, if you go into a film and you don't notice the cinematography and you're just paying attention to the story, he says, like, that's the perfect movie. Now, of course, that's his opinion.
Who is that? Who's that?
At Webster, I'll to send you his name. He went to film in Austria, but
I don't think he's not necessarily wrong. I'm just curious if I know who that is.
He's sort of a newer guy, but and I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, like I said, I really like Shape of Water, but Lady Bird, and I guess selfishly, like a lot of it's my mom and I. That relationship is, and I think it's spoken to a lot of people. But like you said, you don't have to be a 17-year-old girl. And like, as you get older, I think if I'd seen this at a younger age, I would have said, oh, you know, the daughter knows what's going on. Her mom's so mean. And to sort of be older and think like, well, wait a minute, you know, they're both not wrong. Was actually quite a little mean. But yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I don't know if it'll win at the Oscars, but
well,
I think
probably not. But
being the parent of younger kids. You know, our oldest, we've got 2 daughters, and the oldest is at this point, I believe 9. Yeah. So, 9 going on 14, maybe. But
that's the best.
Yeah. So she's, and so watching the film with Silwyn, my wife, Silwyn felt like she's at a place in her own life where she could relate to both Lady Bird, the Saoirse Ronan character, and the mom, Laurie Metcalf. You know, so it was punching her on both sides of the face. You know, very, very good, very good. And here's hoping that Greta Gerwig does get in as an Oscar nominee. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Lots of great movies though in 2017. I'm not kidding.
So many.
So if she doesn't, that just means there's 5 other good ones in there probably.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm hoping she does. And not because she's a woman, just because that's a good movie, and only a woman could have made it. So that's why it should be her.
And that's why we need more women making films.
We do.
We have.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Let me make my movie. Just give me like $50,000. All right. Let's do this.
That's
all I need.
That is humble. That's. Could have made Lady Bird for $50,000 if they would have cut a few corners here and there.
Oh yeah, could have made the exact same movie.
Yeah, Saoirse Ronan.
No, the first to contribute.
Yes. Yeah, the Kevin Smith credit card method of making movies has, I think, been debunked. That's led to nothing but misery for a lot of people.
Well, I think it worked out for Kevin Smith and it worked out for Spike Lee. And pretty much everyone else. It's failed spectacularly.
Edward Burns for a little while.
For one brief shining moment.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this black dress movement. This is part of the solidarity. All the women were supposed to wear black dresses, and apparently there was somebody at the door with a bag of these Time's Up lapel things. They're giving to all the men. So
Yep.
here's your and you have to wear it. Just have to, So what do you guys think about, Maddie? What do you think about the black dresses? Was this a good idea?
Yeah. It was really enjoyable. I mean, we can talk about like Seth Meyers. I think he had a really hard job to do. Just like it's hard to host any award show, but in particular, and I think some jokes sort of fell flat, but I think he did a really good job. I liked his punch about, but maybe a woman should have hosted this, but they called me. He did a nice job. Of course, James Franco's up there, pin, and I don't know. I didn't see everyone wearing a pin, but maybe I have bad eyesight.
Not everybody did.
No, not everybody, and that's okay. That's part of what this is. But like you said, there's really no it's not one right and wrong. I mean, obviously there's one clear. Hopefully you want equality and equity and everyone to be respected. But sort of this idea of if you have made mistakes in the past, because we all have, it's time to talk about that. And so I don't know what's going to happen with James Franco. I don't know a lot about that. I heard some rumblings about Gary Oldman, people being upset that he was wearing the pin. His backstory with his wife, but once again, I'll bring up I wish that some of the people who had accepted awards that were men had mentioned something about solidarity, something about, because it's not enough to wear a pin. The women in black, they weren't just walking and being normal and wearing these colors. They were talking about what it was, right. And that would have been nice. I hear the argument of it's not their turn to talk, but no, we need everyone. Just like Oprah said, we need good men and women to be a part of this. So I thought it was good. Yeah, I didn't overshadow the event. I enjoyed it. No,
I mean, men should by no means come in and steamroller the issue, but I think there's no danger of that at the rate things are going. Where to sit back and be like, or to be told it's not men's time to talk. Well, then, what are we supposed to do? I feel like I'm really want to talk. We again, inside baseball here, we've had an attempt, one attempt to do a Zeke film episode about this issue, and then holidays and busyness kicked in, and the whole thing went through my fingers, and so I apologize that we never got to discuss this, have a very special episode of ZekeTalk. It did not happen. I suppose it still could. I don't know. Maybe we're doing it now. I don't know. My wife. Well,
and I'll just jump in and say that it wasn't just from the women that were saying, "Oh, men shouldn't talk." There were men that were also defending, "Oh, well, they didn't want to overshadow your moment," and publicists and PR, agents telling these male actors, because then the spotlight's on you. And I understand that. I mean, that Seth Meyers, I think, made a joke about that at some point of, you don't want to hear your name unless it's about blah, blah, blah. So we're on kind of treacherous water. And that's where I say, we should be uncomfortable. This is a tough issue and we have to address it in order to move forward. So,
yeah. Do you think they'll do black dresses again at the Oscars?
I don't know.
What color for the Oscars? Maybe gold this time?
Yeah, gold to match. Yeah.
You can't do that. That black works because black's a good idea because everybody can just make it work for them.
Yeah.
But
gold would be harder.
Right.
Yeah,
they already did
good and black. Yeah.
They already did black.
Black is slimming.
Yep. Yeah. My wife, we're watching the show and she said, well, the black dress thing, it does make for a very visually pleasing wide shot, right, where you see everybody.
Everyone looked good.
They're all the same color. It's like a big bridal party or something. They're all.
Well, you know what? Then it's not all about the fashion. I also kind of liked that too. I didn't really see any cameras on the 360 thing that they spin your 180, they spin you around. What are you wearing? You know, I kind of liked that.
Yeah.
Well, they say the reporters on the red carpet were the most nervous of all, you know, because they're the ones now that are on trial. That, you know, the first person to step in it as far as asking a celebrity a fashion question is going to be tweeted mercilessly and made into an embarrassing meme. You know, it's like they don't want to be that reporter. You know, look what this bonehead asked. You know, he asked her what she's wearing and not about Me Too. You know, it's so.
Seems like we need to shift our priorities.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, you know, the whole red carpet thing. You know, the patter there is usually so insipid anyhow. You know, it's like this was actually a welcome respite.
Yes, it was.
And I didn't watch it, so I don't know what really happened. Just making stuff up. No. But I don't know. I turned on the show and saw the black dresses and thought, okay. I heard that they kind of threw this out early in the week. So my mind goes to the logistics of it. Like, you know, surely all these nominees were planning their dresses long before this edict came down. That, hey, everybody, and was there an email? How did the notice go out? Who told all the women that, hey, black dresses, okay? You know, how do you get that notice? I mean, if you don't get that notice and you show up not wearing the black dress, it's like, oh gosh, you know,
turn around, go home.
Yeah. And there was the one actress who I never heard of that apparently got in trouble because she wore a red dress. That her name was Blanca.
Oh, there were a few models. I think there were three. I think there were 3 people that didn't wear to, and that's fine. You should.
I was like, do what you want. Yeah, I always say, you know, people, women, everybody should wear what they want, and you know, in this case, it's all about uniformity, making this visual statement. Okay, that's fine. That it worked, but they really should have the freedom of wearing what they want. The one who doesn't, she showed up in that black dress, which. I mean, that red dress, I saw the picture and it's like, I don't know who this woman is, but well, I guess she's kind of famous now.
I was going to say that could have gone through their head too. Like, I'll stand out.
Right. And it's one of those dresses. I don't know if you've seen the picture, you guys.
I thought, it's nice.
I thought she was trying out for the role of Vampirella. Wearing that red thing with the swoop, you know.
It almost looked like a costume from Glow. Like at
right.
No,
wrestling show.
But yes, I was going to say, I agree. Everyone should be able to wear whatever they want.
Yes.
Unless your ensemble includes Crocs. So that's where I draw the line.
Nope.
Tell my boyfriend
Crocs
that.
On the red carpet.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell over here. So no,
I'm setting the bar very low.
Yeah. So for the nominees who had been like working on their dresses far earlier than the black dress thing, or did they actually know about the black dress things longer ago than a week?
I think they knew before.
Okay.
Yeah, because they wanted to launch that. The Time's Up campaign, there is a legal fund now for people, not just in entertainment, but who need help if they're going to, you know, raise a case against something that happened and they don't have the means to. So the Time's Up thing came out a week before, but I think the idea was there to always, you know, this Me Too thing has been going on for quite some time. So I would think they knew.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, a week is not a lot of notice. So
no, I read a few places that it was a week, and I was like, that doesn't make sense because
that's crazy.
You know, now they're going to need a separate fund for people to donate for these unfortunate actresses who would have to buy 2 dresses. You know, the one they're not going to be using, and then this one, and it costs more for the last minute. You know, Daniel Day-Lewis and his crew in there to slam together a fancy black dress overnight.
It's the Golden Globes. No one goes into Hawk getting a Golden Globes dress.
It's the biggest party of the year, Mike.
It looks fun.
Exactly. You don't want to have something where, you know.
If the biggest party of the year,
because it's the biggest party, yes.
If the biggest party of the year is this uncomfortable, like Madeline's saying, what is every other party in the world going to be like then? You know, just really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What kind of world are we living in, people?
I guess I'm trying to imagine like what it would have been like though if they hadn't addressed it. You know, like
they couldn't
dresses. Yeah, like it would have been even maybe more uncomfortable. Like, hey, there's this huge thing that's happening across the world, the country, but most, you know, in the spotlight in the entertainment world. So, yeah.
Actually, with some of the things going on in the rest of the country, you know, the choices of things, you know, this is probably less uncomfortable than it could have been.
And the president was not mentioned once. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Not bring him up. So that was.
I heard somebody else mention that was the case, and I thought, no, he wasn't, was he? Yeah, nope. He's probably really upset about that.
Probably.
Oh God, yeah.
Probably like, what? Hey, you know,
Twitter.
Right? What about me? You know, that's the worst, to be ignored.
Well, and I do want to jump in and say that I know I had mentioned, you know, the men who accepted awards didn't say anything, but Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us won Best Actor, not to go back into the awards, but for drama. And he did give a really good speech. And it wasn't particularly just about the Me Too or Time's Up movement, but it was about seeing people that are marginalized, and particularly the people who run This Is Us, really giving him a part that he said, you know, only a Black man could play. And I do watch This Is Us, and he does they all do a really wonderful job, especially for an NBC show. You know, they're just, it's hard to compete against HBO, against all these things that have all this money. And This Is Us is very simple. It's really a story about a family and watching them grow up. So I do want to call him out in a good way and say, you know, he had a really nice speech.
Well, that's great. No, I don't
want to correct myself there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
And let's see, what else do we have here? Anything else? I think
you got them all. But
we're in good shape, aren't we? Okay. Well, let's then we can wrap the show up.
There were people that were upset Get Out didn't win anything. Did you guys like Get Out? Have you seen that?
Yes, it's good.
Okay.
Great movie.
Okay. I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I thought it would win anything, but just want to throw it out there.
Nope. It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yep. In a comedy category.
Well, it is funny.
Yep. It's very funny.
It's funny and it's thrilling and it's socially relevant, of course, and it's horror. It's all the things.
It's a little funny though to watch it go against The Greatest Showman, right?
Yeah. I guess
they're a little bit of a different movie.
I have not seen Greatest Showman.
Is it a musical? No.
Yeah. They screened that little bit of info here. They screened The Greatest Showman the morning that the St. Louis Film Critics were meeting to decide what our nominations for 2017 were going to be.
Oh.
So, and then it didn't send us discs, which we get a lot of discs. Mm-hmm. But they didn't send us discs for that, and they screened the movie that morning. It's like, nope. I'm not.
Too late.
So, no Greatest Showman for me.
Oh.
And, you know, it's one of those movies that I don't think it's just me. It's easy to forget it even exists.
Yeah, I just want to see it because Hugh Jackman is in it.
Yeah.
And the other young gentleman who I'm forgetting.
That guy.
Disney Channel, yeah.
Logan was so heavy. The Wolverine, the Logan movie he did.
I heard that's good. I haven't seen that yet.
It's very good. It's very good. I liked it, but it's the kind of thing that, oh man, I don't know if I can want to watch that again anytime soon, because it is a bleak movie. It is like, it has the vibe of a, you know, dusty, bleak Sam Peckinpah movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it totally does, and it's great. But man, woo!
Okay.
Be ready.
Okay, I'm even more interested now. Okay.
Yeah. It's strong. It's a strong movie.
Maybe I'll watch Logan first, and then to calm myself down, Greatest Showman.
Greatest Showman.
And then to freak myself out again, watch Get Out.
Get Out.
That'll be a good.
And then Phantom Thread.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sorry.
To put it all.
Throw Phantom Thread in.
Well, folks, any other last minute add-ons here? Speak now. We're putting the Golden Globes to bed.
No,
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, what do you guys hope to see for this 76th annual next year's Golden Globes? Seth Meyers?
No Crocs.
No Crocs.
I hope for Crocs.
That'll be the big statement.
I'm gonna vote towards it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an easy statement to make since they don't tend to show shoes on these shows very often, except for like the wide shot where people walk out on stage. Other than that, you don't really see people's feet. It's okay.
Smilf, Frankie Shaw, the woman I mentioned from Smilf who plays basketball, she does in real life. She was wearing black basketball shoes.
Good for her.
Under her dress.
Good for her. Yeah.
So that's what they should do.
That's what
Or
they
Crocs.
should do. Yeah. You smuggle in those comfortable shoes to wear the whole night, and then you put the good ones on when you have to go up there, or when you have to walk in and then go up there. Other than that, no.
That's it.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, folks, this is Zeke Talk, brought to you by no one in particular. Well, then a few generous donators that have donated to ZekeFilm.org, our non-for-profit. You can do that on our website if you're so inclined to help us improve our presentation here, so Mike won't get cut off and made sound like a robot.
He needs a new router, people.
That's right.
Yes, he does. So anyway, those who've helped us out in the past, we do appreciate it. We are having a big live event in St. Louis on January 26th at Grace and Peace Fellowship, which is a stomping ground where we've done our live events, year-end best of discussion nights in the past. We're going back there, back to the church this year. We tried Webster University last year. We're going back to the church this year. So January 26th, and more info about that will be on the website. Maddie's top TV show list will be on the website soon, right?
Yes, it will.
Okay, and Mike's is there. My list of movies is there. As
I will send you my movies as well.
Oh, you are?
Yep, I will send you my movies. Yep, I have a list.
Send me the movies. Let's do it. Put them on the site if you're so inclined. But just in any case, let's get those included in our master aggregated site-wide list. That'll be the last list. And what else? Lots of reviews. Well, I already said what a bunch of them were, so we won't go through that again. Subscribe to the channel and like all of this. And we like you back.
Okay.
We do.
Yeah, we really do. Okay, that's that. Thank you, guys. We'll do this again in 1 year from now.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll bring you back sooner, Maddie, to talk about Oscars if you're so inclined. Okay.
Love nothing more.
Okay, folks.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.